one song, and then we'll go back to Hare Krishna chanting. The first song I'm going to do is this is a song that my spiritual master would sing before giving lectures. It's a very, very beautiful song. It's called Jai Radha Madhava. The meaning of the song is very, very sweet and wonderful. Radha is the name of the Supreme Lord's consort, eternal consort. And Madhava is another name for Krishna, the Supreme Lord. So Jaya means all glories to. So we sing all glories to the Supreme Lord as the eternal consort. Jaya Radha Madhava, Gopi Jana Balava, so many different names of God and the associates of God in the spiritual world. So this song is actually like a window into the spiritual world. And if one meditates on it very deeply, one can be carried closer and closer to that spiritual world. Just by meditating on it. Jaya Rama Bihari Gopi Jana Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astatarajavishi Sriman is the nine grace, Shila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Nandi Goswami Ki Jai ISKCON Pramdavacharya Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai Patita Pavan Save the Fallen Souls Shila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astatarajavishi Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Adanta Kori Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Brahmsakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mayapur Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Ganga Mai Ki Jai Jamuna Mai Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaura Premananda. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Devashesha Shunyavadi Pashchachidesha Tarine. So today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavad Gita, chapter number 4, Transcendental Knowledge. Text number 38. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Nahi Jnanena Sadrisham Pavitram Iha Vidyate Tatsvayam Yoga Samsiddha Alinatmani Vindati. For those of you who are new, we are reading from Bhagavad Gita. These are the words that God directly spoke on this planet 5,000 years ago to His disciple Arjuna in a place known as Kurukshetra. You can go and see that place today where this was spoken. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is this mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service enjoys this knowledge within himself in due course of time. Purport by Prabhupada, our spiritual master. When we speak of transcendental knowledge, we do so in terms of spiritual understanding. As such, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Ignorance is the cause of our bondage, and knowledge is the cause of our liberation. This knowledge is the mature fruit of devotional service, and when one is situated in transcendental knowledge, he need not search for peace elsewhere, for he enjoys peace within himself. In other words, this knowledge and peace culminate in Krishna consciousness, That is the last word in the Bhagavad Gita. Vandemam Shri Guru Shri Jatapatikamam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrayatam Sahaganavaginatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sataitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Valan Savagana Ladita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha. So what is the meaning of this? This world refers to the world we're in now, this material world. It's not the only world. There's two worlds actually, basically, the material world and the spiritual world. So in this world refers to the material world because Krishna spoke this knowledge when he was here in the material world. There is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. One could ask, well, why is transcendental knowledge the topmost sublime and pure thing in this world? The reason is the transcendental knowledge liberates one from all sufferings. There are so many types of knowledge, so why do we say transcendental knowledge? What is the meaning of transcendental knowledge? You see, it's like in the school you learn that 1 + 1 = 2, 2 + 2 = 4. This is knowledge, you see. We learn how to drive the car, that's knowledge. We learn how to get from point A to point B. What are the directions to come to 130, 133 Armageddon Springs River? That's also a type of knowledge. You all use that knowledge to get here. Someone told you or you Googled it. So that's knowledge. It's a type of knowledge. So, but here we're speaking of transcendental knowledge. You see, this is a different category of knowledge. Transcendental knowledge means knowledge of what lies beyond this material world or what this material world actually rests on. This material world is not self-manifested. It is manifested from a transcendental source. It's the energy of a transcendental energetic source. So when we speak of transcendental knowledge, it means we understand perfectly this world. We understand that person from whom this energy is manifested. In other words, when you have transcendental knowledge, then you understand everything. Because the mundane knowledge, the knowledge of this material world, is not independent. It simply rests upon transcendental knowledge. So when you have transcendental knowledge, you have perfect knowledge of everything. You understand how and why this material world operates also. The scientists are still trying to figure it out, how this universe came into being. Some of them are acknowledging also other universes besides this one. And that's actually a fact. We learned in the Vedic wisdom that there are many, many universes, and this is just one little tiny mustard seed in a bag of mustard seeds. There are many, many universes. And we learn how they come into being, that there is an expanded form of Krishna, an expansion of an expansion of expansion of Krishna. His name is Mahavishnu. And he lies down in a corner of the spiritual world and goes in a sleeping state called Yoga Nidra. Nidra means sleep in Sanskrit. So he goes into a divine sleep, a yogic sleep, a mystical sleep. In that sleeping, he is exhaling and inhaling, just like when you and I sleep, we breathe, isn't it? Don't you breathe when you sleep? Yeah. You don't stop breathing when you sleep. Your body's still breathing. That's why people snore sometimes, it's their breathing, you see. So, the Supreme Lord is the original breather. And when he exhales, countless numbers of universes come out from his mouth and the pores of his skin. And when he inhales, they're all they all go back into Him again. They're manifested and they're unmanifested. So when you have transcendental knowledge, you begin to understand things that scientists haven't even found out about yet. They're still scratching their heads in the dark trying to figure out how this particular universe came into being and why it came into being. They think it's just some chance thing, is by some fluke of nature and this universe popped out of nothing. But that understanding is imperfect and incomplete. It's not a sublime and pure understanding of why this universe is manifested. But when you actually have a clear understanding of why this universe is manifested, then you understand who you are and what is your relationship with this universe and what is your relationship with that person as the source of this and all the multi-universes. So transcendental knowledge enables you to fully activate your actual identity. You see, at the present time, we're all suffering from what is known as identity crisis. We don't really know who we are, and we're struggling to be something. The existentialists tell us that life is actually meaningless, but you have to invent some meaning, concoct some meanings to somehow pull yourself through. But that doesn't make any sense. If life was meaningless, why would you even have a need for meaning? You understand? If life was actually meaningless, you wouldn't feel the urge for meaning. The urge for meaning, we all urge for meaning in life. That urge for meaning indicates the existence of meaning. Just like here we have a glass of water. So sometimes I get thirsty. The thirst for water indicates the existence of water, you understand? I would not have a thirst for water if water did not exist. So the thirst for water indicates the existence of water. In a similar way, the thirst for meaning indicates the existence of meaning. So this idea that life is meaningless is a meaningless argument. Life does have meaning. And that meaning is encoded in what we call transcendental knowledge. And this Bhagavad Gita is the summum bonum of all transcendental knowledge that exists within the universe. This is the sum total of all the transcendental knowledge that exists in the universe. So if you can simply become well versed with this one book, which you can read in a couple of days, if you get serious, in your spare time, in 2 or 3 days you can read the whole thing cover to cover. This book, which is nicely written with modern day English and the translation and the purpose. You can, of course the Sanskrit's a little new to it, but it's nicely translated with the word for word meanings also. So simply by reading this book, Bhagavad Gita, you gain transcendental knowledge. And then this knowledge then liberates you from the ignorance which has kept you in a suffering condition for millions of lifetimes. So that's why it's described as sublime, very sublime thing. Sublime, what does sublime mean actually? Sublime means really, really wonderful. I mean super, super wonderful. I say, well, I had this experience, it was really a sublime experience. I mean, it's really up there as one of the topmost experiences of your whole life. You see? I had this most sublime experience. Sublime is really up there, you see, topmost. Okay? So this transcendental knowledge, there's nothing that exceeds it in sublimity. It is the topmost level of sublimity. And then Krishna describes in the second sentence here, such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism. Well, this is giving us some indication how we can realize this knowledge ourselves. You see? by engaging what is known as mysticism, which will be further elaborated in the next sentence, and by engaging in mysticism, we can actually taste this fruit. So what is that mysticism? That is described in the next verse. And one who has become accomplished in the practice of devotional service. I was explaining this to you all earlier, you see. This is the perfection of mysticism. Some of the mystic yogis, they try to go over mysticism by pranayama, by asana, you see, achieve some mystical state of consciousness. But this is a mechanical process of mysticism, and it's very difficult to actually keep your mind fixed on one point mechanically. But the mystical process of developing love for that Supreme Person is the source of all existence, which is actually the ultimate goal of the mystic yogis. When they finally achieve the fixity of mind, if they perfect their yoga, they will fix it on the Supreme Person. So why not do it now? Why not immediately fix my mind on the Supreme Person and save so much trouble? Why take the steps when I can get on the elevator? If you were going to, David, if you were going to a 100-story building, would you take the steps or the elevator?
Elevator.
Elevator. So why we should, why we should take the steps? We can get on the elevator. That's why Krishna says here in the Gita, chapter 6, text 14, he says, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena taratmana shadavam bhajate yomam samayukta tamomata. He says, of all the yogis, the one who is my devotee, you see, who fixes his mind on me, he is the topmost yogi. So we can we can go through all the steps, or we can go straight to the top on the elevator. So how do we quickly achieve, in this age, the bhakti mood? That is by chanting. And this recommended mantra is especially recommended, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So you said you were going to take over. Now you're ready to take over. We give you the mic and you can take over now. Part 2. I'm getting you all warmed up for the real lecture now. You want me to keep going?
I'll try to answer some questions.
Huh?
I'll try to answer some questions.
Answers and questions? No, questions and answers. Okay, good. I have a tendency to be philosophical. She has a tendency to be very, very practical and down to earth. That's why her answers are really, really good. I give some fancy philosophical things. She gives the practical thing. So it's looking forward to hearing her answers. And then the final sentence here, that is the last word of the Bhagavad Gita. What I really like about this purport is Prabhupada is saying he, of course she means he or she, he need not search for peace elsewhere, for he enjoys peace within himself. Now that's really amazing. I mean, we try to get peaceful in different ways. We drive out to the country, and if you go out to Pernales Falls State Park, got to be peaceful out there, seeing a beautiful waterfall in the country. Or, or we go to some movie that we might enjoy, or we have a nice dinner with some friends. Try to get peaceful, you see. Because there's so much disturbance in the world, and just kind of relax, and take a day off, just kind of relax, sit back and read a book or something, try to become peaceful. Because it's a very disturbing situation in the world. There's so much turbulence going on all the time. So, in this world, people try to be peaceful by arranging the external situation to become peaceful. But when one actually has this transcendental knowledge, they don't need anything external. They have it all right here within, you see. They can be peaceful no matter what's going on. Just like suddenly these hurricanes come off the Gulf of Mexico, big, huge hurricanes, raging winds, circular wind like this, maybe 100 miles wide, huge circle of wind. But in the middle of that hurricane, it's completely calm and peaceful. So someone who's practicing this Krishna consciousness science, you see, they can be in the midst of the most turbulent situation, be completely peaceful. Here in this Bhagavad Gita, there was a very turbulent situation. There was a war going on. There was a battle. And Arjuna was able to situate himself peacefully in the middle of this turbulence. So, we can do it too. In fact, Arjuna didn't really need to have this knowledge because he was a fully enlightened soul. But Arjuna played the role of a person who was an illusion. So that this knowledge can be spoken by Krishna for you and me, because we are an illusion. You see, we're thinking we're the bodies, I'm thinking I'm male, you're thinking male or female, I'm thinking American, you're thinking Indian, whatever. We are in a state of illusion right now. So Krishna speaks this knowledge to Arjuna, but actually it's for us. It's actually for us. And if we take advantage of this knowledge, then you find this peace within yourself. Krishna is within your heart. He has a perfect plan for you to be peaceful and happy for all eternity. You just have to connect with Krishna. That's all you have to do. You just have to connect with Krishna. And that's done through love. Just like here, we showed our love to Krishna by singing and dancing for him, you see. We showed our love for Krishna by welcoming him with incense, with flower, with a peacock fan, with a chamar. We showed our love for Krishna. In this movement, our system, we offer our food to Krishna. We don't eat meat, fish, or eggs. But we offer our eatables to Krishna before we eat. But first we will feed Krishna. In fact, we even have a special plate for Krishna. We don't eat off his plate. We have a very fancy, beautiful plate. It's Krishna's plate. Whatever we eat, whatever we cook, and we put it on the plate for Krishna, and we lay it before him. We say some prayers and ask him to accept the offering. In this way, we give him some time to enjoy that food. In this way, the food is transformed from matter into spirit. A mystical transformation takes place. But the important thing is, this helps us to develop loving feeling. By serving someone regularly, you can develop loving feeling for them. So by offering service to Krishna in the deity form, by serving Krishna in the form of his name, by chanting it every day, gradually the feelings of love awaken within the heart. And that love for God actually carries one beyond all the distress of material existence into a wonderful, sublime, pure state of transcendental bliss. So you don't have to take my word for it. Thank you very much. You don't take my word for it, you can chant it yourself. Try chanting this mantra. Get up early in the morning before sunrise is the best. You can chant it anytime. But it's so peaceful and serene and sublime before the sun comes up. Try it, just for one day at least. See how you can get up early, go to bed early the night before, no late night to show on the TV. Go to bed early one night and get up very early the next morning and read Bhagavad Gita or some of our books we have and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Just chant it for a few minutes and just dive into it, just like you're surfing on the waves of the ocean of transcendental bliss. Just ride that wave. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And you'll come out of your meditation, you'll be a new man, a new woman. I mean, you'll have this amazing, wow, that was amazing. I remember the first time I really chanted, I was visiting the Hare Krishna Center in 518 Frederick Street in San Francisco back in 1968. Yeah, it was actually just been open. It had been open in 1967. I went the following year in '68, and they had some chanting beads hung on a peg on the wall. And they said for guests, so I took the beads and I chanted. It's like a rosary. You chant on each bead. You chant the mantra one time. So I chanted 108 repetitions of the mantra going around the beads, and it was the most amazing. It was ecstatic. It was like, euphoric. I felt it was very euphoric. I was in a state of euphoria. Then I headed back to my place I lived in Berkeley, California, to that morning program. But it was really euphoric, and it is. If you just try meditating on the mantra, you will actually become uplifted by the mantra. And even sometimes one doesn't feel the upliftment, still one chants because it takes time to the process of fully meditate. So, perhaps you all have some questions, and my wife can, I'm going to give the question and answers to her. Who has a question? Anyone have a question? Yeah. Okay, Sankirtan.
Gurudev gives some hint how this world is manifested, but what is the reason of this material world? Because there is some spiritual world, nice place, and what is the reason of this material place?
Why in our country, every country, why the government has a prison? Or rehabilitation centers. Why? So similarly, God also has this place of rehabilitation to get the people, those who are not very serious about their life, they have to be put here. When they become envious, acne people, they have to be put in a rehabilitation center so they can come.
Help me hear you. You take the mic.
That's it. How did the whole thing work?
Huh? Can you take the mic because I can't hear you so well. Help me hear my deafness. Well, your nice answers, but I don't want to miss them.
It's a rehabilitation center.
What is it?
Rehabilitation center.
Ah, yeah.
This material world is a rehabilitation center for the miscreants and do scraping us. How many times you gonna go this way and that way? Just take a minute.
Please help me become rehabilitated. Let me hear your answers. I need to be rehabilitated.
Sure, that's why this creation, to rehabilitate you so that you can go back home and live like a free citizen. Not everything is forced upon you. You don't like to be old, you don't like to die, so that it's a rehabilitation center. So if you don't like to do this, why it is forced upon you? Because it's a rehabilitation. In rehabilitation centers, they are forced to do certain things that they don't like to. So this material world is for that purpose, so that you can go back home and live like a free citizen. Obey the laws of God, who is the controller of everything. He's not cruel, But one needs rehabilitation. So that's the reason this material world is. To remind us this is not our place to stay. Like a prison is not a place for a good person. That answers you. Okay. But still we are so foolish, we don't want to be rehabilitated. We do all kinds of nonsense, make pollutions, and then we try to recycle. Because we do not know how to recycle, we are trying again and again to do something to find pleasure out of that. So we cannot do it. We are ignoring the real rehabilitation words, but we are trying to do ourselves. We are looking for love, peace, and all that, but we are looking for love, peace, and friendliness in our own way, without the knowledge, like groping in the darkness. When a person is groping in the darkness, what they do? They bump here, they bump there, they bump there, and then if not at all, then they'll come and bump with one another. So that is near material world, although we don't want to, because and there are most surprising thing is that they do not even want to take the word, but they're coming from the authorities. So it's very difficult. So one must learn to, if one is intelligent, they will stop groping in the darkness, and when the guide comes and tells, okay, this is the way to get out of all this troublesome things that are going on, get out. So if someone is intelligent, it is said in the scripture, if someone is intelligent, they can take up the science of bhakti and get out and become situated in one's own natural constitutional position, where there is no birth, no death, no old age, and no disease, which nobody likes it. Any other questions? Yes.
Before Krishna was born in the material world, did people know about who is the Supreme Lord? If it was Krishna or not?
Krishna, first thing, Krishna is never born. Krishna descends. He doesn't take birth. For the ordinary eyes, it may seem that he has taken birth and all that, but God never takes birth. He descends. And before that, the people were pious, and they already knew. They already know this Kali Yuga is a mess, where the people are like, what is it, short-lived, quarrelsome, or every little thing they'll fight, agitated, short memory. All these things are there, so it's they are forgetting everything. So before that, everybody knew. In Satya Yuga, there are 4 cycles. Satya Yuga means the age of piety and all that. So then people were 100% God conscious. Then Treta Yuga comes, it diminishes by 25%. And then Dwapar comes, then 75% is, 50% is lost. And in Kali Yuga, 25 is left, even that is diminishing very fast. People are degrading like anything. That they like to act like animals. They say, oh, animals are enjoying like this, so we can enjoy. But actually they cannot enjoy anyway in this material world because there is no enjoyment. Any other question? You want to answer?
Keep going, you're doing good.
Any other question, anybody?
Mataji, is having knowledge enough, or you need something else with that?
Knowledge means if you don't practice, what is the use of your knowledge? Even in material world, if you go to college, you have a degree. If you don't utilize the degree and your propensities, what is the use of that knowledge? So knowledge means put in practice. Then you get a good result.
Because
Having knowledge is not good.
somebody can just read, somebody can just read the Bhagavad Gita and say, okay, well, I know Krishna is supreme, it's written in the book. But
then a lot of people knows God is supreme, but if you know that, what you are meant to do? Just stand and watch it? What do you do? When the queen comes or the great personality comes, you will say, oh, here is the president coming. What do you do? You do something, right? If you are lucky, you may be able to shake your hand. So you practice. And when we hear that president is coming, everybody comes together to just to have darshan of him. So they may get some opportunity to sneak over, can talk, get an opportunity to talk with him. You don't say, oh, the president is coming, or I know the president is coming, it's okay. What is good about it? So when God is giving the knowledge, you get the knowledge, then you put it into practice. If somebody says, there is a house on the fire, okay? Oh yeah, I know the house is on the fire. You don't do anything, do you? Do you? Or you would run out of the fire and call the 911 and try to put the fire out. What would you do?
to get something.
You will. If you have a knowledge, then you will put into practice. Otherwise it's useless, meaningless. Any other question?
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm not really sure how to say this, but it seems like the ultimate goal is to have love for God. So I'm wondering if there's, if there's other ways to generate that love for God. Say maybe you don't, using the altar rituals don't really seem like they help for you. You're more inclined to do something else like meditation or chanting or something that works to generate that love. Then is that the only thing that's important? Not so much the ritual, but how it affects you. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Do you understand the question?
generating love, I understand, thank you so much. But generating love, if you love somebody, then you will do what they ask for. You will give them what they ask. You may give, they will say, oh, very nice, thank you. But if you give them the things they ask you, you do what they ask you, that is the true love. So if in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that man manabho mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyas yuktvaimam atmanam mat parayana. Offer your obeisances to me, offer your homage to me, become my devotee. So then we find out how to become devotee, and that will be pleasing to the beloved. Do the way they want it. You can see those things practically in our life also. If anybody loves somebody, they will want to do the things that they beloved wants, so that the love becomes more and more intense. Otherwise, It's not like that. Meditation and all that, what is practical, that we should do it. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think so. I may talk to you or somebody else after this. I have a few other related questions, but.
Okay. You want to help him?
What is the question?
The question was that besides meditation or chanting, or is there any other way to develop love for God?
Yes, there are actually many, many ways. It says they're like the steps. But this bhakti system means it's called love in practice. You immediately act, there's love in perfection, which is the goal, for perfect love. We practice love from the very beginning. Instead of doing something else, we actually immediately take the activities of love. It's called sadhana bhakti. The goal is to develop pure love of God. All right, but right now we just love we love eating, sleeping, mating, and defending right now. So we engage in activities in practice. Just like you may be, how do you become an expert violin player? You practice. You could do other things to become but how do you really become an expert? In the beginning you're not expert. It's horrible. People can't stand to hear this. Go practice in another room. I can't handle it. So the direct way of developing love of God is to love Him in practice, even though you don't have the ability to really love Him yet. You follow the directions of the spiritual master. And he says, well, you should offer your food to Krishna, you should bow down to Him. Even though you don't feel love now, you just do the activities of love under the order of the spiritual master. Even though it may seem artificial also, bowing down. When you actually love God, you'll bow down spontaneously. Now I don't feel like bowing down. Maybe I have a stiff back and it's a little difficult. I'm an old person with a stiff back. It's difficult to bow down. But the spiritual master says, go ahead and do this. This is how you'll awaken love of God. You do those things now that you would do if you actually purely love Them. Whatever you would do spontaneously when you have pure love, do it now under the order of the spiritual master. And by love in practice, you see, doing the activities of love, offering your food to the Lord, hearing about Him, chanting about Him. It's not a ritual. These are the things you would do if you had pure love for God. And so you do them on the order of the spiritual master. An example is given very nicely in the scriptures. There's a disease called jaundice, which is a problem of the liver. When one has jaundice, sugar candy tastes very bitter. It's completely bitter. You just want to spit it out. But the cure for jaundice is to take sugar candy. And in your normal state, I love that sugar candy. Sure, give me some sugar candy. I'm ready. You see, no problem. But when you have jaundice, oh no, I don't want that stuff. It's horrible. So the cure for jaundice is to take sugar candy, even though it's bitter and it's artificial in one sense to take it now. From the order of your physician, you take sugar candy. And by doing that, the natural flavor, the natural sweetness gradually comes back again as you're cured. So love of God is your natural state, but now you have jaundice. The activities of loving God seem weird or artificial to me. Bowing down to the Lord, chanting His name, hearing about Him, offering my food to Him, serving Him. It's not the American way. And, but you do it under the order of the spiritual master, who is the spiritual physician. And by doing that, then it gradually, as you're cured by loving in practice, eating sugar candy even though it's bitter, it gradually, the healing effect comes, and then, wow, I'm eating sugar candy because I love it. So there are other ways. There are many different ways you can come to the point of love of God, but they are indirect. This bhakti system is a direct system. So one doesn't want to go directly, you can go indirect. But if you want to become perfect in this lifetime and get out of the cycle of birth and death in this lifetime, the direct method is recommended because we can die at any time. At any minute we can die. So it's recommended in the scriptures in this age, take it to the direct pathway by chanting the names of God. Not the only way. But it is there's so many cars on the road. And they all will work, but there's one car which is the nicest car of all, that's the Rolls Royce. You rarely see them. How many Rolls do you see around Austin? I saw one time in London, in the UK. Only one I saw in the UK. I think I saw one in Hong Kong one day. I mean, they're very rare, but they are the best car. The Rolls Royce is definitely the best car, but they're very rare. So this is a very rare position. It's not the only way, but it is the cream of the crop. The bhakti system is the cream of the crop. If you want to go another way, you can. Jnana yoga, karma yoga, hatha yoga, kundalini yoga. They're all bona fide pathways. But they take a long time to achieve the goal.
But isn't it supposed to be? Isn't it supposed to be tinged with bhakti? That jnana yoga, karma yoga, bhakti yoga has to have
those other systems achieve their perfection when they are overcoated with bhakti. The mystic system, the yoga, the hatha yoga system becomes perfect when it's overcoated with bhakti. The philosophical system called jnana yoga becomes perfect when it's overcoated with bhakti. The kundalini system becomes perfect when it's overcoated with bhakti. So bhakti is required at the end anyway. Love. So why not take the love path immediately? Since love is the goal, why not take love immediately? Love in practice leads to love, spontaneous love. There's love in practice and there's spontaneous love. Now there's an example. It's kind of a little bit hard for us to understand in America because it's so against our culture. And even now in India, it doesn't exist anymore. But formerly in India, I mean, you may think it's barbaric, but actually the system worked quite well. And people were very happy, actually. It was arranged marriages for children. I think my wife's parents, what age were they married?
5 and 10.
5 and 6?
5 and 10.
5 and 10. Her father was 10, her mother was 5. That's the age they got married. And now we just shudder. Oh, horrible, barbaric, demoniac. We think that is the most unbelievably horrible thing. But that was the system formerly in the Hindu culture. My wife's parents were married like that. So the little girl, she doesn't go live at the age of 5 with a 10-year-old boy. She still lives at home just like a little girl growing up in her parents' house. But she'll go sometimes and take some nice foodstuffs to that little boy who's her husband, you see. She hasn't even attained puberty yet. There's no feeling of boy and girl yet even. She's just doing this because she's told to do it. And she has a practice. She goes regularly to her husband's house and brings him something, you see. So it's not love, it's love in practice. But gradually she comes to the puberty stage, and now all of that desire she has for a man, that's there. She has her husband. And she doesn't get sidetracked by all the, like we call it playing the field in America, dating and mating with so many girls and getting completely, spaced out by it. They that was the former system. Of course, now they don't even do that anymore. They follow the American way more and more now in India as well. Although they still arrange marriages, but it's when they're adults. So she's loving her husband in practice. She doesn't have any feeling of a woman for a man. She's not old enough. But she's doing it in practice, and then gradually she'll come to that feeling of a woman for a man as she attains puberty. And now she's already, it's a part of her lifestyle. She's already doing it regularly. And now all of that, now she's fully satisfied. Her desire for a man is fully satisfied. She already has her man. And she has that loving relationship. She's been practicing it, now it becomes spontaneous. Now she just can't wait when she goes to serve her husband, you see. In the beginning, her parents are sending her, but now she just can't wait when I go serve him again. So this is an example our spiritual master used. So, in a similar way, we have no feeling of love of God. But we do it on the order of our spiritual master. We do activities of love of God, as described in the Bhagavad Gita. We do it in practice on the order of Guru. But then gradually, that feeling comes, and then we do it spontaneously. We no longer need the order of our spiritual master, although we still serve him, and we still serve his orders, but we do it not out of an obligation. I have to do this because my guru said it. Now we're just spontaneously doing it now. And we're totally in following our spiritual master's orders, that we're not doing it because he ordered me, we're doing it, that's the perfectional state, we're doing it automatic, out of love. So love in practice is the easiest way to come to automatic love. But there are other ways, not the only one. I think that's the answer to your question. David. Okay. Your Mata, you can have it.
Where is the development? How does that love and practice, what are the symptoms of it actually coming to fruition? How does it manifest itself into love? What's that interim part? You have love and practice, and then you have love.
That takes time.
Time.
That takes time. The spontaneous love is what has to come beyond all the material, go over beyond material sense gratification, all kinds of anarthas, unwanted things. Then it happens. Before that it's very difficult. Right now still we are carried away by our senses. Lust, anger, greed, illusion. So it takes time. And so if you really want that love, then we have to minimize so many things which spontaneously we are feeling to give up. Especially the great bondage in this material world is, well, I don't have to say, then so.
So they didn't enter the Lord's arrest now, okay?
They are doing that.
Huh?
Yes. Sankirtan is doing that.
Oh, he already knows how to do it. Okay, he's taking care of it. Okay. All right.
So the Guru helps us he teaches us how to practice that love. After it becomes natural, then what is the relationship with the Guru at that point?
That relationship still continues. Yeah. It's not something like this that you got something and there's an example given, I went up the ladder and now I don't need the ladder, I kick off the ladder. You see? It's not something like that. Now I don't need the ladder. So if somebody is grateful, shows their gratitude and still remains the same loyalty. May need it or not, here is the person who has saved me, given me knowledge, so I continue to hear from him, serve him. It's not that I got what I wanted it, or who are you, I kick you off. It's not like that. Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that you have to render service submissively, inquire from him, and render service unto him so he can impart knowledge. It doesn't say you give him up after that. So we do what he asks us. And he says, if you love the spiritual master, you are loving me. Love my, if you love me, love my dog. This is an English thing. So, you love the spiritual master. You show your love for Krishna by showing your love to your own spiritual master. He may be physically present, may not be, but the disciple is always in love with the spiritual master. He says, if somebody saves you from some calamity, how grateful would you be? The spiritual master is has given you the knowledge how you can be saved from the greatest calamity of this world. That is death. Birth, death, old age and disease, which are the main symptoms. So how much grateful you can be with that person. So that relationship one can never forget. Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you, Guru Mata.
Any other question?
If birth, death, disease, old age, and material desires are the symptoms of being conditioned, what are the symptoms of being unconditioned?
Another symptom. Eternity, bliss and knowledge. Full of eternity, full of bliss and knowledge. Wouldn't you be happy if you were to know, like right now, people are thinking how we can become immortal by putting the chips in the head. Why? Because that is bliss, to be living eternally without misery. So why not do it the right way instead of the chip? Chip is not going to save, because that's the nature of the world. That one who has taken the birth has to live for some time, then the time period goes away, one has to diminish and take another birth according to one's actions, and that's called karma.
If you're conditioned, like we try to conceive of eternity, it's too much to understand, our knowledge is limited, and we're not very peaceful or blissful. So how do we recognize those symptoms that we don't understand?
Well, don't you want to live? You want to live? How would you feel if somebody puts a gun at your head? You want to live, right? So that is the symptom. That you don't want to die. That's a symptom of eternity. And you want to be happy, right? That is the symptom of natural blissfulness. So that's how we understand. Why do we look for these things? Because it's real nature of the living entity. Just like Prabhu gave the example of water. Why do we feel thirst? Because the water exists. So this eternal, why we don't want to die? Because our nature is to be eternal, not this temporary body. That's how we can understand. And how do you know that you exist even? The consciousness. Just that you exist, you will say, I am so and so. You don't say, I am the body. Do you? No. That's a consciousness that says that I am the spirit soul. Am I right? Anyone else? Yes, Samir.
What does the shaved head and the ponytail represent? What does that mean?
Keeping that is to keep yourself clean and use less time on your body. Instead of going and seeing your face and trying to comb your hair and all that, putting so many things and trying to make this design or that design to attract opposite sex.
It also saves a lot of money. You just do it yourself, you don't need to go to a barber even. Save money in shampoo also.
It's a lot of work.
Thing is, if once you shave your head and feel the difference, the feeling, it feels so good. When you grow your hair back out, it feels dirty. I mean, it really feels good that we've shaved head. You ever had a shaved head? It's the most wonderful feeling. It feels so clean. It's serene. It's sublime.
You keep your hair and make your hair every time. When it starts falling, you get into a lot of anxiety also. So you start doing so many things for it because I don't want to look. So
This is where the spiritual master grabs us to take you back to God at Prabhupada. It's kind of a transcendental joke. Because you leave your body behind anyway.
This is a symptom of Brahmanas. And this is the way that Brahmanas live in the spiritual world also. And they wear the clothing like that, simple clothing. One, what is that called? One model. They don't have to keep changing different styles and different fashion. It's only one, and it remains eternally. Okay?
So, I'm sorry, so why doesn't it apply to women, like the female devotees?
Huh?
Why wouldn't they shave their head?
Why doesn't a woman shave? Women hair is supposed to be kept. Woman is not in that category with the men.
Woman is meant to remain beautiful.
Yeah. So women is not supposed to shave their hairs. She is meant to keep the hair long and braided and nicely combed. Not that they have to make a fashion out of it, but they can do. Just like Rohini has it, beautiful long hair.
Mataji, you just mentioned in the spiritual world, Brahmins have to will be like this.
They keep like that. They don't want to use their time, waste their time for bodily decorations.
Okay.
That's why.
Okay. But my understanding is everyone is a Brahmin.
What's his question?
He says, what say that again, please?
In the spiritual world, Mataji just mentioned that all Brahmins wear the shaved head and everything.
In the spiritual world?
Yes.
They may have hair there. I'm not necessarily all shaved up in the spiritual world.
They do.
He
Brahmanas.
works at the Panchatattva there.
Panchatattva Lord Chaitanya also shaved up.
They may have hair in the spiritual world.
They may.
It's not that they're all shaved up necessarily.
But I have read it somewhere, it is like that.
Nanda Maharaj, we don't see that he was shaved up.
But he was Vaishya.
Huh?
He was Vaishya.
So?
So Vaishyas don't Brahmanas. I said.
There's so many Vaishyas in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
Taking
But
care of
the
the cows.
Brahmanas, I said.
Oh, you said the Brahmanas?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't really know. We'll have to wait till we go and find out.
So Mataji, I didn't know there are Vaishyas also in the spiritual world. I thought everyone is a Brahmana.
No, well, Nanda Maharaj is Vaishya.
But there's one point we should make
Huh?
very clear. One thing we should make clear to our guests: you don't have to. These things are not
Okay,
required. Not that we're saying you have to shave you have to cut your hair off. We're not saying that. Don't. Everyone's welcome to come. Whatever kind of hair you have is fine. This is for, you're not saying you have to shave your head to be a Hare Krishna follower. Not necessarily. Most
These
of
are the
our.
monks do that only.
This is, huh?
These are for the monks. Those who are fully dedicated to monks.
Now those who are living in the ashram, who don't have outside jobs, they will naturally do that. The men. We have most of our people are kind of lay people. They're out working jobs. They keep their hair. It's not that you have to, you cut your hair off to follow this path. Most of our people are Hare Krishnas. Hare Krishna. So don't feel that we're staring at you because of your hair. What are you doing with hair? It's not like that. Not like that. You're welcome with your hair. Many of our, even some of our leaders are keeping hair because of their occupational activities. Some of our leaders, our movement, are keeping hair. So it's not like a thing you have to shave your head. Those who are in monastics, they will naturally do because it's really nice. But you don't have to be a monastic follower. You can be a lay follower. So you don't have to be a monastic. We have just like you got priests and you got lay people in the Catholic Church. Everybody's welcome. Everyone is. We love everyone. You don't have to be a monastic person wearing a robe to be a follower of this philosophy. It's not necessary.
Yeah, that's true. My main thing is to develop love of Godhead.
And the ladies don't have to braid their hair either. The same.
Huh?
The ladies don't have to braid their hair. It's not necessary. It's not required.
No, but it just makes them look more.
Most of our women don't do it, and it's not a required.
Not
law.
required, but in those who really want themselves, they spontaneously do those things. I don't think so. Rohini will go with the long hair and braided. They spontaneously do it. It's not that required, but they spontaneously do it.
We don't want our ladies who are visiting here to feel that unless they braid their hair, they're not proper.
No, I did not say that. I said they spontaneously do that. They don't need to. We are not saying that they have to, but those who have long hair, they spontaneously want to do that. Just like I'm giving the example of Rohini. Rohini will never want to keep her hair unbraided. I've never seen her. It's spontaneous. It's not that we are telling her that she should do this. We don't ask that requirement. Is that clear?
What is it?
I said, we don't ask them that it is the requirement to do that, but there are the ladies who will do spontaneously like to keep their hair braided. It's one's own taste. question? Yeah. Don't ask these questions about hair and shaved head and all that.
It was a hair question again.
Huh?
When Lord Krishna and Lord Rama descended, they had hair, right? So.
Don't ask that question. It's different tastes for different people, so it's better not to. But one has to become Krishna conscious. But one thing we should understand, the Lord can do so many things which we cannot do it. Lord can give life to somebody, we cannot do it. A lot of people say that Lord Shiva drank the what is it, bhang. So we can also take some intoxication. But Lord Shiva took poison also, we cannot. You see? So we should not compare ourselves with the Lord, what Lord did and what not. Lord can do so many things, multitasking, so many things, that we cannot compare ourselves with them. Okay? Let's finish
Question
this.
mark? Everybody's, all their curiosity satisfied now?
Let's say I smoke cigarettes and I like them, but I know it's bad for me. Or maybe I eat meat, but there's so many cancer, but still I like. How do we understand that these things are bad for our health and bad for our spiritual life, but we still like them? How do we get over that?
You want to tell them?
What is the question?
The question is that there are things like cigarettes, meat, and that although it's not good for our health, but I like them. So how to overcome that?
I mean, for alcohol, for example, it actually turns off your brain cells.
Yeah, but still I like them.
Even a small amount of alcohol is having a detrimental. It's having a detrimental effect, a permanent detrimental effect on your brain. I just took a driver education course today to reverse a ticket, and there was an expert talking about alcohol, and he said it actually kills the brain cells. It's like a permanent damage. The more you drink alcohol, you become more spaced out. So these things, it's very practical. These principles that we follow, cigarettes are obvious. Everyone knows cigarettes are bad. That's why they're banned. In fact, everywhere you go now, cigarettes are banned. These things that we've been avoiding now being recognized as bad more and more in the society. Alcohol, intoxication, eating also. So leading it's a very much cause of cancer, and it's very ecologically unsustainable position to take all those grains and fatten up cattle. You could feed 10 times more people if you let the cows eat the grass. You don't need to feed corns to the cows to fatten them up for a slaughterhouse. Let them eat the grass. If we see the corn, you feed the corn to the people. Let the cows eat the grass. When I was a kid, my grandfather had a big corn farm. It was a huge cornfield. Of course, as a little kid, as far as the eye could see, it's like unlimited corn. And he would take that corn, and he had a machine. We would go down the thing, and all those ears of corn are flying into the thing. He put them in a bin. They dry them out, and they feed them to cattle. You see, for the slaughterhouse. It wasn't going to the supermarket. It was going to the cows to feed them, to fatten them up for slaughter. So why? There's so many people dying of starvation. Actually, meat eating is unethical. Because when you eat meat, you're taking an unfair portion of the grains of this planet to yourself. By adopting a vegetarian diet, you're freeing up so much grains are being freed up. If simply everyone was vegetarian, all the starvation problem would be solved on this planet. So meat eating is not only it's ecological, it's ethical, but it's also a very unethical thing. The animal has feelings too. They have affection for their young. If you take the calf away from her mother to slaughter him for veal, do you think she doesn't feel anything? I mean, it's very unethical. It's non-ecological, it's non-ethical, it's not healthy. And the government is subsidizing the meat-eating industry big time. It's just a big waste of money. These slaughterhouses are polluting the water like anything. You see, we're facing water shortages. The next shortage. First thing is fossil fuel. The next thing is a wide-scale global water shortage. It's predicted by 2040 a large percentage of the people of this planet will not have sufficient water to drink. And these slaughterhouses are a major cause of water pollution. And because they have such a powerful lobby, and the government themselves are meat eaters, they don't have the brains to stop this stuff. I mean, it's actually crazy what's going on. How many people are killed by drunk drivers, you see? Alcohol is, even one beer can makes you, is dangerous. You even drive after drinking one beer. It's maybe illegal according to the state of Texas, which is a very liberal law, but even one beer can impair your performance on the road, especially in an emergency situation, where you have to be very sharp how to deal with it. Some emergency comes up, you had one beer, you couldn't handle the emergency as well as if you didn't have that one beer. And you can get killed because of it. Even one beer can cause you death on the highway. If you have an emergency and you're not quite as sharp as you would have been, you see. So all of these things that we avoid, illicit sex, look at illicit sex, people having sex for recreation instead of for procreation. And because of it, there's so many unwanted pregnancies, they're actually killing these babies. Human beings are being murdered by their own parents. You see, because people are having sex for recreation instead of for procreation. So actually, all these principles we follow: no illicit sex, no meat eating, no intoxication, no gambling. They're very, very practical things that help one's life become peaceful, healthy, and sustainable. A sustainable global civilization that can go on generation after generation. The way we're living now is not sustainable. We are a world society committing global suicide right now. It is not sustainable. Present economic, sociological system is not sustainable. Unless something is done, we're going to face wide-scale calamities on this planet in the coming generations. Wide-scale calamities. So these principles are very important. Even if they don't become Krishna conscious. If they'll just give up illicit sex, intoxication, meat eating, gambling, we can have a very peaceful, wonderful, sustainable global civilization. So these principles are very important that we follow. And we'd like to see everyone follow these principles. They don't become Krishna conscious. But they can become vegetarian. They can stop all this nonsense intoxication, it ruins your lungs, it ruins your brain. You see, if people can just at least give up these bad habits, the whole world atmosphere will become greatly